Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition.
Bright and early on this Saturday morning, it is the Jaguar Journal. I am Perry White. Good morning to everybody out there. Good morning to you if you follow us on YouTube, Facebook, or listening to us on the radio waves. It's always good to have your support. It's been a bit cold week, hadn't it? Little ice out there, below freezing temperatures. Man, listen, I thought I moved down south to avoid it. And I always tell people, when it's cold in Baton Rouge, you know it's definitely cold everywhere else in the world. You know it's definitely cold everywhere else in the world. So good morning to everybody that's out there, man. I'm glad that you guys are able to join us and be here with me this morning. Shout out to my man Mike. Always got us rocking and rolling, getting us together, man. I'm just happy it's at least warming up just a little bit. Hope you guys' pipes did not freeze or bust. Hope nobody got into any accidents dealing with this cold weather. Today's show should be a good one. We have my man Carlton Jones. He is the president of the Southern University. He is the national president of the Southern University Foundation. He's going to come on at 7:15, talk to us about what's coming up. Southern University will be hosting the Southern University National Alumni Conference this year in Baton Rouge. So he's going to come on and talk to us about that, as well as my man Jim Kleinpeter. Southern University dropped his football schedule this week. He's going to give us some update on some recruits. We're going to talk about the coaching staff. Then we're going to put it all together for you guys to give me a call here at 225-499-1073, and we can have a conversation. NFL today. Come on now. Can't come on here and not talk about the NFL playoffs last week, division, wild card games. Had to be tough for if you was a Cowboys fan. You know, I talk about the Cowboy fans because every year is their year, right? Oh, this is it. This is our year. We're going to win. And they let the Packers come in there and whoop them up and down the field. 48-32 was the final score with the Packers over the Cowboys. A great game that I like was the Detroit Lions versus the Rams. You look at Jared Goff versus Matthew Stafford, basically a swap of teams, and Jared Goff getting it done over the Rams 24-23. I know Saints fans probably still dislike the Rams for that no pass interference call in the playoffs. I get it. How about the Chiefs and the Dolphins? They took the Miami boys up there to Kansas City where it was minus 31. Did you see Patrick Mahomes' helmet crack? That was tough. Tough. 26-7, the Chiefs, and then the Texans. C.J. Stroud, man, listen. The kid can flat out ball. Did me justice in fantasy football. I don't know how many of you guys out there play fantasy football with a group of your guys, but I had C.J. Stroud and as well as Nico Collins, and then you look at their tight end shows. Hey, their offense, when it is rolling, it is rolling. They got the victory 45-14 over Joe Flacco and the Browns. Today's matchup in the playoffs, divisional rounds, you're going to have the Texans and the Rangers and the Ravens at 3:30. Then the Packers and the 49ers, which if you like old school football logos, those old school starter jackets, old school football NFL, that matchup right there, Jordan Love versus Brock Purdy. I like the matchup because I think Green Bay really has a chance, and Green Bay's defense, if they can get after Brock Purdy and put some pressure on Brock Purdy, it can be a tough day for Brock Purdy. And I keep telling people this. You saw it last year. If they could put pressure on Brock Purdy and force him with any type of injury, what, you going to have to play Christian McCaffrey at the Wildcat position? Because that's all you're going to have. Then tomorrow, the Bucs and the Lions, Tampa Bay. How about Baker Mayfield, right? I know a lot of Saints fans wish they would have got into the playoffs, especially with the way that they won those last two games of the season. But it was the early season play that really cost them an opportunity at the playoffs. And they just needed too many scenarios to try to get into the playoffs this year. But the Bucks and Baker Mayfield, man, getting out of that wild card week, upsetting the Philadelphia Eagles. I have a question. What's the biggest tragedy this season? Is it the Cowboys not living up to the expectation? Or is it the Philadelphia Eagles just completely derailing themselves? And I ask you that. Just the biggest upset for the season. Cowboys not getting it done, or the Eagles just falling off the tracks. Because both stories are tragic. The Bucks take on the Lions tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and then a game that I think is probably the game of the week, aside from the Ravens and Texans, because I really want to see C.J. Stroud versus Lamar Jackson. But when you look at this game tomorrow night, the Chiefs versus the Bills, listen, I'm looking forward to that matchup. You're talking about Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be cold. Both teams 11-6 on the season. AFC divisional playoff game. So, got somebody that want to talk? No. All right. But I like that ball game. The Chiefs versus the Bills, that's going to be a good one. Fellas, get your TV, get your popcorn, get your grill, whatever you're going to do. Sit down, hang out, chill, relax, and get a chance to watch some good football. Basketball as well this weekend. I'm going to talk about basketball at about the 7:30. Men and women both made the trips to Florida last week at Southern, and this week they're going up to Grambling today. You know what it's like when Southern and Grambling meet each other in whatever sport it may be, right? Southern and Grambling in men and women basketball today. Southern went on the road last week to take on Bethune-Cookman and FAMU. I'll break down both those games as well as give you a look around the SWAC. What is it looking like on the SWAC men's side, the SWAC women's side when you look at the overall standings? And we're going to talk some football because I know at the end of the day, you guys really want to talk that. We're going to definitely get into that Southern University football schedule. We're going to break it down. Jim and I are going to go through that schedule from top to bottom. We're going to sweep it in and out. Had a chance to talk to Coach Terrence Graves this week. Said he's trying to get everything together. Jim and I talk about that. I actually went to a Southern University men's basketball practice this week. Sat in, Coach Kevin Johnson, listen, man, if you never had an opportunity to meet the guy, if you never had an opportunity to sit down and talk basketball with him or just to check his philosophy, listen, I sat in on the entire practice this week and thoroughly impressed in terms of how he teaches and coaches his team up. He's not one of those hoorah coaches. He's straight to the point, learn this, be here, be there, do this type of coach. And his players respond well with him, which I think that's why you've seen the success that they've been having. And for me to understand that this is year one, I can see the sky's the limit for this guy at Southern University. I must admit, like many others, he was a name that I had not known, that I was not familiar with, me personally. And I may not have been just so excited when I first heard the name Kevin Johnson being named as the head coach at Southern University for men's basketball. I must admit. But you have to give people a chance. Gave him a chance. You've seen the victories he's been able to have at Southern. So far. Early on success. We'll see how long it continues to roll. But when you just truly get to meet a guy and realize how good he is, not only in life personally, but how good he is in life professionally, business-wise, and what you pay him to do. And, you know, I love a coach that can go out and win a non-conference game. We've been playing SWAC games since the SWAC was the SWAC. But it's those non-conference games where I want to see you go out and get you one, right? And by beating, at the time, number 21 Mississippi State, hey, don't just go collect a check. Come home with one. Going on the road, beating UNLV, this team has an opportunity to be special this year. I think these guys will continue to grow and fit into this system that he's instilling, and the more and more players that he add into this system and this program, I think we'll get it done. Mike, let's get ready to take a break. We'll come back. We'll have my man Carlton Jones on, the Southern University National Federation president. We'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like Reliable Roofing. Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney, installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable Roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At Care South, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in Healing is just a phone call.
All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. Glad to have you guys on. All right, let's go straight to the phone line. He is the guest this morning. Want to welcome him to the Jaguar Journal. He is the national president of the Southern University Alumni Federation. My man, Carlton Jones. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Rise and shine, sunshine. How you doing today?
Rise and shine. All right, man. I'm doing good, man. Glad it ain't as cold as it's been, man.
Ooh, man, it's been really cold. I went out and covered up some pipes earlier this week, man, just to get ready. So, of course, this isn't a normal weather for Louisiana, but as usual, we'll pull through. I think we'll be all right.
Carlton, as the national president of the Southern University Alumni Federation, I saw the news that you guys have announced the Southern University National Conference for the Alumni Federation. Let's dive a little bit into that, man, and talk to me about what's going on and how can people be involved to be a part of the National Alumni Conference.
Perry, I appreciate the opportunity. And yes, this is a conference year. So remember last time we spoke, we had a leadership summit in New Orleans. And alumni several years ago alternated from a leadership summit that mostly catered to our chapter presidents and is open to all alumni, but offer an opportunity for education and training up our team. Our national conference, of course, is open to all alumni. We're inviting everybody out back to Baton Rouge, June 27th through the 30th. We'll be on campus, and we're going to do the same thing, but not only just for our chapter presidents, but for all our alumni nationwide, looking for an opportunity to learn about Southern University, learn about our athletics program, learn about the band, learn about our Southern University Alumni Federation as well. So it gets an opportunity, number one, the fellowship. It gets those classes together. Don't forget we have the class of 74, celebrating their 50 years this year. We also have business meetings. We're going to have trainings and sessions. So it's a good opportunity for alumni to get engaged, to educate themselves, get back into the spirit of Southern University, and get ready for their football season.
Yeah, I know. I've been to the conference. The last conference I went to, Carlton, was in Chicago, man. I think that was pre-COVID. Yeah, that was 2016. I did the National Alumni Conference in Chicago. I think one year they brought it back. I did the national conference here in Baton Rouge as well. And I've been to a host of leadership conferences because the leadership conferences rotate throughout each campus of the system. So I've had the opportunity to do Shreveport, Suno, right here. So, you know, the importance of being active in the alumni, right? We hear people talk about so much with the complaining or I want to be a part. How can I make a difference? How can I make a change? I'm always big in terms of making sure you give back and are active. What have you guys been doing to make sure that you can go out and recruit and gain people trust in order to be active in the Alumni Federation? Because we often know it could be one experience that you had on campus or with somebody, and by the time you graduate, you like, good riddance, I'm ready to go. But to gain that trust, to bring them back, and especially I have always been big, Carlton, about making sure we stay engaged with the young alums. And that's not waiting until they 20 years from now when they finally get in a position at a job where they can write that big check. Let's stick with them and engage them any way that we can while they're young and working throughout their careers and able to get to that point in life.
Perry, you hit it dead on the nail, man. One of the things that I like to say, and, you know, obviously trying to get an organization and find your niche within Southern University. There's so many options for these kids, alumni to do that it can get a little bit confusing. But the Federation, one of the things I've figured out that we've kind of been strong at is that we grow alumni. And if you think about from the recruitment process to alumni to those parents, families, and friends, we start recruitment when in the high school to come to Southern University. We start the growing process. We have a National Academic Signing Day coming up. So those kids who decide to come to Southern University, they can get recognized, get them in the fold, get them with their family, get them the contacts that they need to be successful on campus. And then we continue to do that throughout their tenure at Southern University, matriculate scholarships, programs to get them engaged. And to your point, we got to do a better job of getting these students engaged because they're going to be future alumni. They're going to be the ones we got to be transitioning and developing into those future Valdres, Malvos of the future. So they're students. And then when they graduate, helping them get in jobs and stuff like that, connecting them with cities or chapters across the nation. Don't forget, the Federation's strong point are its chapters. We've got chapters in most of all the major cities, D.C., Dallas, Houston, L.A. So they've graduated, they get connected to alumni in those areas, and they can be able to make mentors and grow in their respective fields. So I think the Alumni Federation's key niche is just growing alumni, and that's part of giving back to university. A lot of people, they express their feelings to social media. They go on, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and complain, but you've got to be organized if you want to make a change. The Federation's already organized. We got development. We've got connections. You got to get connected to that if you want to make change. And it takes time. One thing I'm learning, it takes time. You've got to let people know what their problems are and then help them try to fix it. And if there isn't a fix, then that may have to be progressed. So our job is holding them accountable and then holding them, the university, accountable on certain things. And they're not doing it. You got to be organized in order to address it appropriately within a proper means.
Yeah, I like the idea, especially going out and being able to reach people. What is the future, like the 5-year, 10-year plan for the Alumni Federation look like? I've seen the slow process. I know people for years saw that sign right there on the bluff saying future home of the Alumni Center, and the trees were knocked down. There's now a parking lot, and I know now that you guys can generate revenue from that parking lot because of RVs and parking and everything else. But what's the next phase in terms of growing the Alumni Federation, particularly with that spot that's been designated for the Alumni Center?
Man, Perry, it takes time and it takes dollars, but you're right. So it's been some years, and it's just a little quick history lesson. You remember, Senator Cleo Fields was the one who actually appropriated that land for the Alumni Federation. I think DeMorne Rutledge was the president at the time, and that was some 20-plus years ago. And, just back and forth, trying to grow the land, it takes time. But finally, we got a break this past year. And Senator Fields also blessed us with another donation for the dollar. So that kind of seeded us to getting started with land. So if you've been on campus for the last year, you noted that the land was cleared. And you'll notice also that we've got a parking lot in a certain area spot that we've been using for tailgating for the football season, bringing revenue, to mention what you brought up. But the rest of the facility is supposed to be housing for students. At least 250 housing units for students. That's a key priority for the president as well as the university, and then also an alumni center. So the sign is actually still up, Brother Perry. The sign is still up, but this administration, we've kind of gotten, it's going to look a little bit different from what you're going to see on the sign. I can't spoil everything. I'll share at the conference, so maybe that'll be a sneak peek at the conference. You get to see some of that. But the plans that we have in store right now include the parking lot that you see, but you're also going to see a 250-unit bed unit for students on campus, as well as an alumni center that we can host at events. Just imagine the Gale on the Bluff on the Bluff. You have that opportunity as well. So the key part of that is we have a development team that's working on that. Project manager, actually, is Brother Brian LaFleur, and they're developing a package for us. But that costs dollars, and that's where we are right now. We've got drawings and renderings, but we've got to develop the drawings, the dollars to support it.
What is alumni giving like right now? Is it up? Is it down? Has it plateaued? Where does it seem to be standing at this point?
I think it's up. It's always up because you got a new group coming in all the time, and you're engaging a new group. So when your graduates come out, they get excited somewhat. They're moving across country, and they want to engage and develop with alumni. But you also have a certain age group, some odd years after they graduate, maybe like 5 to 10 years later, and everything their parents told them kind of clicks in. And then that love for Southern University kind of kicks in, too. So they start to come back into the fold, too. So I find that there's a little gap between when they graduate and when they're trying to get engaged with the Alumni Federation. But you got to remember, we've got a renewed sense of givers every year. So it's always up. There's always up. The alumni giving is always up, never really down. But what we got to do is try to engage more we can. And that's my job, to engage as many alumni as we can so that we can get them into the fold, making a difference at Southern University.
Talking about engaging as many alumni as you can, many chapters throughout the nation. Give us a walkthrough from the East Coast to the West Coast and in between some of those chapters, especially in the major cities, and some that may not be in the major cities, could be rural or small, but ganging together and coming together for the greater good to recruit for Southern, to give to Southern, and talk Southern business. Give us an idea of what those chapters across the country, who they are, and for some of these people who are listening, because people aren't just listening here in Baton Rouge, they're listening all over the country that may ultimately want to be involved and start doing their part as an alum.
Perry, you're trying to put me on the spot because if I forget one, I'm going to get in trouble.
Hey, if you forget one, it's okay. Then you just refer them to the website.
Yeah, that may be what I have to do, refer to the website. But I'll start here with our Mardi Gras balls. So a lot of times a lot of chapters have Mardi Gras balls this time of the year, and it's a great way to fellowship among their alumni. So just imagine Houston has a Mardi Gras ball this year. Los Angeles has a Mardi Gras ball. Houston president is Keith Bynum. Los Angeles has a Mardi Gras ball. Our president is Madam Alicia Jones. Washington, D.C. has a Mardi Gras ball. President, Brother Ivory Berry. And then also Baton Rouge, we have one president, Brian Adams, has a Mardi Gras ball as well this year. So that's just a few chapters of the 64 that we manage throughout the nation that are actually having a Mardi Gras ball this year. So I'll start with those chapters. But some of the smaller chapters, you'd be surprised. Huntsville, actually we have a chapter in Jackson, it's one of our rival cities. We have chapters all over the nation, Florida.
You have one in Arkansas?
No, I don't think we have it. Well, let me say this: they're not formulating. They're getting together and they're putting in their paperwork, trying to get in. So they're working on it. They got you don't need a handful to get going. So they're trying to get organized. They have some alums out there. They're trying to get organized. They're just not official yet.
Yeah, it's probably just a handful. Up there.
Handful is 5. You're exactly right. It's just a handful.
I remember Chicago used to be very active. I'm not sure where they are at. I remember Chicago was very active at one time. So I've had an opportunity, and I would say personally how important it is for the Alumni Federation, because the Alumni Federation, for me, helped me through school. When you talk about scholarships, being able to be a part, I was able to network with so many people. And I would say, aside from many other students, I actually knew where the Alumni House was. And I would go in there, Ms. Rutledge would, put me to work, or I would just go and say, what do you need me to do? And I started to realize how important it was to be around that, because when I transferred here, I realized I had to get in the fold. And the first person I met was Dr. Robin Merritt. And at the time, she was working with the Alumni Federation. And nobody knew who I was. I went to her office, Carlton, every day. When somebody told me who she was, I showed up to her office every day, to the point she finally was like, dude, who are you and what do you want? And I told her who I was and what I was trying to do. And I need money to go to school. I have my vision to do X, Y, and Z. So she started me out and she said, look, just do this. Start by writing letters. I'm going to give you the website. Go look at the chapters. Write letters to all these chapters. Explain your story. Tell them what it is you want to do and what it is you're looking for. And I started to do that. And as I did that, I started to know these chapter presidents at the time. I started to get familiar with their chapters. When these conferences, these crawfish boils, or whatever these events started to happen, when I went, oh, you're Perry White, you're the guy. Then they started introducing me, and I started to realize the power of what the Alumni Federation was and what it meant. And you have to take full advantage of it if you're a student, to be able to open those doors of networking when you talk about opportunities for careers, jobs, or just trying to find a scholarship for school, whether it's to pay for school, to help pay for a book, a dormitory, whatever the case may be. But I had an opportunity to see it firsthand, and then intern for the Alumni Federation. Started working at the time with Derek Warren. At the time, the president was Preston Castile. Those guys were influential in terms of realizing my potential and opening me up to be able to be a part of what they were doing, and going to these chapters, different chapters in their events, going to the national conference, going to the leadership conference. But Carlton, one of the things I just constantly saw was I was typically the youngest face, and I just saw that disconnect where the young alums were not showing up to these big events like the national conference or the leadership conference, in which I thought we should have numbers to really be a part of what's going on, to be able to be the next generation for the Federation.
Perry, I'm glad you talked about that. I was sitting in Brandon Horn's office today, SGA president, and we had this exact same conversation about getting alumni engaged. And what came out of it was a couple of things. Number one was, I want to see them at the conference. And just about that. So we're going to try to come up with some type of special rate or a deal to see them at the conference. It's in Baton Rouge, so it's kind of no excuse for travel if you're here on campus during the summertime or not. But we want to see them at the conference. And then also engaging them, just like you went to the alumni house all the time, they got to be in the room.
Yeah.
We got to get them in the room. So one of the ideas came up was including them on executive council calls with the chapter's president. I have those every quarter, and it's actually open to the public. That's one of the things I did here was just open it up so all alumni can get on if they want to. There's no restriction there. Inviting them on to our executive council calls just to get them in the fold, in the room, because a lot of times it's the history that gets lost. Like you talk about, you've been in office, you brought up some names, man, that I really get excited about. Robin is a Jim. And Derek did a great job in his time as executive director. So,
and for me, that's how, Carlton, I was able to learn about Donald Wade.
Yep.
You know, that if I walked around and talked to the average student, they may not have known, but I had an opportunity to learn the history and get to know who the past presidents were, what importance, where we come from, where we're at. It was just so much that I was able to learn just by being around.
I'm going to put in the chat, we had a brother, Thurston Jones, who actually put together a history of the Southern University Alumni Federation. I'm a history buff. I'm looking at it right now. And he did 2 books. And the first one, he doesn't push out anymore. But the second one talks about all the executive directors, presidents. Matter of fact, that's all the way up to me. He just updated and got it up to me. It's Our Blessed Mother, Southern University, The Quest for Her Legacy, by Brother Thurston Jones. And it's got a lot of history, Alumni Federation, election results, and all that type of stuff. So I may put a link to that chat. It's actually on Amazon, a link to that. just so for them to get some of the history, because it's a lot of history with the Alumni Federation. Federation's got, wow. If you go back to some of the big accomplishments on campus, it could be dated to the Alumni Federation. And I think that gets lost, particularly even if you think about the foundation that was developed through the Federation. The Federation, the president developed the foundation. The first executive director for the foundation was the president of the Alumni Federation. So, there's a lot of history on the university, development of programs. And I think like you say, it can get lost, but we got to get more people in the room so they can continue those traditions.
Let me ask you this last question. I'm always about the money. What is the goal for the Alumni Federation to raise this year? Because I know, like I said before, the money goes to so many things, especially student scholarships. But what is the goal for you guys this year in terms of money to bring into the university?
So one of the things that we do when we raise the money, number one, it goes towards underwrites our programs like the conference, National Academic Signing. People don't get that. It underwrites those programs, gives $1 to upfront so we can put these programs on. So contribute and become a member is very key. We can keep up those traditions that we talked about. And then number two is also about those dollars go to scholarships. Scholarships are kind of what people get excited about giving to. It gives us a leg up when we're out there recruiting and asking for money. Where's our dollars going? And we got 3 scholarships out there right now. Diageo North American Endowed Scholarship. We have the BRIC campaign, Madam Dr. Tracy Terrell going on active. And we also have the Support of Southern Night scholarships open right now. And you talk about dollars. The Support of Southern Night campaign was to raise over $200,000 currently. So that's one of the goals. I think Madam First VP Courtney is somewhere around the $50,000, $60,000 range. So if you want to know how to help, Support of Southern Night is on our website. If you want to give, you can go there and give to her campaign. But she's just started to release the applications for those scholarships now. So it's active. We're out there giving dollars out. And if you have an opportunity to give, go do it now. You got an opportunity to give to some of those programs.
Carlton, I got to ask you this, though. Because Southern University being the only HBCU system in the world, meaning there are campuses within the system, it's not just one campus solely. You have Shreveport, you have the Law Center, you have the Ag, you have the Baton Rouge, and then you have SUNO. Now, each one of those campuses have their own alums when you look at Shreveport, when you look at SUNO, when you look at the BR campus. The biggest question I always get is, how does the Alumni Federation work when you're talking about the system as a whole, who have their own alums and their own pageantry and all those other experiences that come from within those particular campuses, and not just the focus on the Baton Rouge campus?
Well, I think, the end goal is, and President Shields always does, is you focus on the outcome. You focus on the outcome. The outcome is ensuring that those students get the best opportunity they can to matriculate through Southern University. And I kind of do it as like a big family pot. And in our family, my aunt Debbie, she always does potato salad. And nobody touch the potato salad, man. Please don't try to make it potato. Let Debbie do the potato salad, please. And so for each campus, it's fine with me. I think everybody's got their little niche, and given an opportunity. If you look at the outcome, as long as they're giving back, they're engaging alumni, and the universities benefit from it. I have no problem with what we're doing. And together, when we put it all together, for example, at this national conference, you've got a package that's worthy to compete with all the other universities alumni out there. So I'm family oriented. I love the fellowship. So I'm excited to hear, what they're doing at the other campuses. And I think it's great work, man. Everybody, you can't be everywhere. One of the big things, you got to delegate. You can't be everywhere. So having these campuses and having these organizations on each campus, I think is a good thing. And I think that they have an opportunity to show out and provide that specific niche for them that may not get seen nationwide or from Baton Rouge that's going on in Shreveport. Shreveport guys know what's going on and what their needs are, and it's best that they take care of that.
How engaged are they with the Alumni Federation, considering Shreveport, SUNO being the Knights, having their own mascot and these different things. So when you go and they take that oath to being part of the Alumni Federation, is the presence at those campuses just as big as it is here in Baton Rouge, where I know I can walk into the alumni house and I know I'm going to see Miss Rutledge and everybody else, but is the same presence felt with the alumni at those prospective campuses throughout the state also?
Oh, yeah. So if you go to Shreveport, you have Brother Calvin Benless, chapter president of Shreveport. New Orleans actually has 2 chapters. Carl Alexis is president of the New Orleans chapter, and then they have a specific one, SUNO, president by Wanda Crawford. And if you go on those campuses, you're going to see them. But their right to be on the campus is through the Alumni Federation. And it's kind of like a licensing deal. You can't just say you're Southern University, bowling team. You can't say you're Southern University, Natchitoches alumni without being registered through the Alumni Federation. The Federation gives them those rights to kind of use the Southern University name and being active as a chapter. So as long as they're active as a chapter, they have those rights to be on campus. But they're there. They meet every month. And maybe I can put some of the information in the chat, but they meet every month. Wanda Crawford's president of the SUNO chapter. She meets every month. She supports everything we do. And the Support the Southern Night campaign also it says Southern Night for a reason. It doesn't say support Baton Rouge. It doesn't say support Jaguar. It says support of Southern Night. The scholarships are going through all three campuses, New Orleans, Shreveport, and Baton Rouge. So there's presence everywhere, and they are engaged. They have chapters. They meet up on those campuses as well. And I'm sure the extra chancellors, they'd be familiar with the alumni presence on campus.
I also saw that for people who thinking about running for any position in terms of election, there are certain criteria and time stamps and time dates for them to turn in any information. Are you able to speak on that?
Yeah. So the elections is every 2 years. We're in an election year. So at the conference this year, there will be an opportunity to announce the election results. The election package just went out. Madam Linda Veal is the chair of the elections committee. And I think you have until the February 15th to pay your dues to run for the national office. Now, this is only for national office and election. For national office, I think you have February 15th to run for national office. And then before the 60 days prior to the conference, you should receive a ballot either by mail or by email to vote on those running for national office. Additionally, you're going to see some bylaws changes. That's an opportunity to do bylaws changes as well. So you have an opportunity to put your stake in, yay and nay, on the movement and advancement of the Southern University Alumni Federation.
Now, what are some of those positions that are up for re-election or up for election?
Oh, all of them, including mine. All of them. So
okay.
It's a 2-year stint. So every 2 years, all the positions are open. They're not closed, but most of them, usually if someone runs again, we have opportunity to run for a second term, long story short. So most people have an opportunity to run for a second term. So the second election is usually a little bit lighter. So you get two-year stints. But anyone can run for any position. So they're not closed off at all. You can run for a position if you want to and get an opportunity to become on the board of Southern University Alumni Federation.
Well, Carlton, man, give the information out there for people to go to the website. What is the website? What are you guys on social media? If somebody out there wants to donate, give, become a member, find a chapter, where do they go in order to get all this information that they may be curious about? www.sualumni.org. That's it. That's the reply. It's really simple. But don't forget, we're updating our website too, Paris. They're probably going to see something different over the next couple of months. Matter of fact, we meet to work on that as well. But for now, I go to www.sualumni.org. You should be able to find a list of all the chapters, local and national chapters, and you should find information about our scholarships as well. So I think that's a great start. All right, my man Carlton Jones. He is the national president of the Southern University Alumni Federation. Carlton, thank you for coming on and joining me this morning, man.
Yes, sir. Hey, Paris, thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Let's get ready to take a break. Come back, we'll continue the conversation. Y'all stay tuned more to Jaguar Journal, all right?
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney, installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable Roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At Care South, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in healing is just a phone call.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. What's going on, everybody? This is the Jaguar Journal. I am Perry White. Thank my man Carlton Jones, the national president of the Southern University Alumni Federation, coming on. I got my alumni gear on today as well. Make sure you get your alumni gear. My man Thomas White got me laced up and got me right. Mogul Threads, you make sure you hit them up. Hit my man Thomas White. He can make sure he can find you out some good gear to put on, man. Listen, I'm trying to tell you, go out there and people ask, where'd you get that from? We got to holler at my man Thomas White with Mogul Threads. But good morning to everybody joining us, the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody on our YouTube, on our Facebook, and as well as listening on the airwaves all across the state of Louisiana, from Alexandria to Baton Rouge, all the way down to New Orleans. We appreciate you for getting up this morning. I know it's Saturday morning, especially when it's cold, Mike. When it's cold on a Saturday morning, you just want to stay in bed. You just want to stay wrapped up. You're not trying to get up and listen to me and get out here in these elements. I had to get out here in these elements this morning. Mike as well. So, man, I appreciate you, Mike. We revamping the show, doing some things differently, trying to bring in 2024 as we move forward to do things. And that's why I need you to subscribe, okay? Forget all the other stuff. I need you to hit that subscribe button. You see Mike say we on the road to 1,000. That may not mean a lot to you, but it mean a lot to me, considering how much this was just an idea. I remember sitting down with CJ. I said, CJ, man, we got to get in the new world with the technology. We got to get to social media, YouTube, and be able to show our worth, because it's cool to listen on the radio. Trust me. But these day and ages, you have to be able to reach out further than that, because everybody's not able to listen locally. Everybody's not able to listen in real time. And that was one of the things that we kept noticing consistently, especially I would go to a basketball game, a football game, and someone would say, you know, I missed the show this morning because you guys are early. How can I go back and listen? Or what did you guys talk about? So now the ability for us to be able to have our shows archived, if you didn't catch it live or you caught it later in the show, you can always go back and watch the full show. You can always share it. It gives me an opportunity to push the show no matter what, across Facebook, YouTube, wherever. All I have to do is just simply hit that share, retweet, whatever the case may be. So that is an open opportunity to be able to spread the news of what we're doing here, be able to reach new and more people. And that's the whole goal, because we're passing information along. I'm able to talk about whatever school around the conference, everything that's not necessarily about Southern, but this is predominantly a Southern show. But there's always news all across the place that we have to bring to you, because ultimately some of that news from other places will ultimately affect Southern. And so that's why it's best, and whether you like HBCUs, whether you like Southern or not, with just the fact that you're able to get here and get some of this information, because there are not a lot of shows where you can get in full effect for 2 hours the type of information that we're able to give here, whether it's about athletics, whether it's about the institution, or whether it's about anything, the way that we bring it here on the Jaguar Journal for HBCUs, and particularly for Southern University. I know throughout the years, this show has gone in many different ways. It has had many different people to come on here and host and do it their way. Well, now we're doing it Perry White's way. And the way that I like to do is give you information, but from a variety of different ways. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Some will, some won't. Some will say you should go push and do more. Some will say, I like it the old way. It does not matter. In life, you got to evolve, whether you like it or not. It is what it is. But I hope you continue to support, because the mission at the end of the day is still the same, to give you information, to stay on the positive side, but also to be, I would say, critical, constructively, when things come about and questions need to be answered. I'm here to be able to answer those questions, hold people accountable, and be able to have those conversations with you guys out there in Radio Land, because always the call lines are always open to you. 225-499-1073 is the number, as well as the chat on Facebook, the chat on YouTube. You have a variety of different ways to communicate with me now. And I know some people may not want to call in, and I've gotten that over the years. Man, listen, I ain't want to call in. You know, I just kind of rather be in the shadows. Well, you can be in the shadows now in the chat section on the YouTube and Facebook. And trust me, the conversations are always going on in there. The constant conversations in terms of what I'm speaking on, they may jump into a whole nother subject in those comments. But I love the interaction. That's the beauty of it. And be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 1,000 at the end of the day, just considering where we started with nothing, right? And I know it's hard sometimes to grow a show like this because everybody don't want to hear about Southern University. But there are thousands of people out there that graduated from Southern University that we need your support. We need to engage with you. We need you to engage with us. We need you to be right here. So when there's information, you won't say, well, I heard from a friend or I heard. No, you heard it from a reliable source. And I try my best to be credible and reliable. Try to speak on things knowing for sure before I give it to you that it has been confirmed. And if not, I'll hold back and wait, or I'll get that person on here themselves. But we need your support. Hit the subscribe button. I don't need your credit card. I don't have to do a background check. I don't have to run your credit. I don't need to know your address. I don't need to know anything about you. I just need you to support and hit that support. And that's supporting us by hitting the subscribe button. Can you do that for me? They say we're going to pass the collection plate one more time, okay? We're just going to ask for a moment of silence. While we wait for this time in silence, it gives you enough time to just hit that subscribe button. Thank you. All right. Mike, let's get ready to take a break, man. When we come back, we are at the top of the hour. My man, Jim Kleinpeter, I'm finna wake him up, tell him to get his coffee, and let's get ready to roll. We're going to talk some Southern University football. I know you can't live your life without bringing up football. Southern University announced the schedule for the 2024 season, and as well as we're going to talk some recruiting, we're going to talk some coaching, and I'm going to give you guys and keep you up to date everything that's going on. And on the back end, I'll come back around to basketball. All right, so you guys stay tuned. We'll be back. More at the Jaguar Journal.
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable Roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At CareSouth, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope and healing is just a phone call.
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney, installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career.
All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody out there in radio land, YouTube land, Facebook land, wherever you are getting your information watching the Jaguar Journal this morning. Remember to hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. We're on the road to 1,000. We need your support. We'd love to have you. And as we continue to move forward this morning, we're going to talk some Southern University football, and no better person than to talk that Southern University football than with my man, Jim Kleinpeter of The Advocate. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Perry.
There we go. Jim, what's going on?
I'm like everybody else, man. I'm hiding inside trying to stay warm.
Hey, I thought you liked the cold weather, though.
Well, yeah, I do. Not in Louisiana. It's out of context, you know. It's just it's not right for it to be this cold here.
I always, like I said earlier in the show, when it's cold here, you know it's freezing everywhere else.
That's right. When I want cold weather, I'll go up to Alaska for it. You know?
Jim, let's dive into it. First, what everybody wants to know, and let's start with the coaches at Southern University. Terrence Graves named the head coach finally after letting go Eric Dooley. right before the Bayou Classic after that loss to Prairie View. And now as we move forward, Terrence Graves has been named the head guy, but still no word on the coaching staff and what it's going to look like. Any word from you, Jim, in terms of any movement within this staff so far?
Well, I asked Coach Graves directly about it. He said there's a couple of guys that wouldn't be back, and he didn't want to say their names. You know, a lot of coaches, they don't like to talk about people who aren't with the program anymore. It's just one of their little excuses for not telling you something that you want to know. But I'm okay with that. But I was told that the tight ends coach, Robert Bailey, is one of them, and then the strength coach won't be back. I can't think of the strength coach's name just off the top of my head, but is not something that you deal with a lot. But those two guys won't be back. I have heard that Willie Totten is probably going to stay, but not as offensive coordinator. He did that for the Bayou Classic in the one game that Terrence Graves was the interim coach. I think Coach Graves wants to hire an offensive coordinator outside of the staff right now. And I've heard Totten will stay on as the quarterback coach, but usually that means you have to juggle somebody. You have to hire an offensive coordinator who's going to coach the offensive line like Chinnis Berry did back in the days. Dawson Odoms was the coach. So, I don't know. I think that's all we're going to see. That's all I know right now. This doesn't mean they're not going to lose some of the other guys or bring some other guys in. I have heard that Henry Miller wants to stay. I mean, obviously he's not going to follow Dooley. He and Dooley are super tight, but it looks like Jason Rollins is going to be the defensive coordinator up at Grambling. Mm-hmm. So I think that he looks like he may not make any changes, and you gotta give him some leeway on that because he was on the staff with most of these guys, and so he knows them. And if he keeps them, you got to figure that he knows what he's doing. I don't know what's going to happen with Sean Wallace. He didn't seem he seemed like he was doing okay at the end of the year, but as his treatment for cancer goes on, I don't know what's going to happen there.
Let me ask you this with the idea. Any speculations maybe around the offensive coordinator position of maybe any names of guys that you've heard, just word on the street type stuff?
Boy, I don't know. There are guys out there. I thought obviously I thought Totten would just step up into the role, stay on as quarterback coach and offensive coordinator. I don't know why they didn't want to do that. It may be not a personality thing, because I think he and Graves and Totten are pretty close. They've worked together before. It may be a type of offense that he wants, and maybe he sees Totten as a guy who's a good quarterback tutor, not as much as an offensive coordinator. But I haven't thought of it. I haven't heard any names, and I know. You got Fred McNair floating around out there, and
hey.
I don't know that they shouldn't bring him in and talk to him. I'm not going to be able to pay him a whole lot of money, but compared to probably what he was making at Alcorn. But he's a guy that if he might be a one-year solution, and I don't know if you want to do that. I have a feeling McNair isn't going to want to stay on more than a year. He may, he kind of is left out in the cold on this whole Texas Southern deal. So unless he gets on at Florida A&M, and I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know how Florida A&M would feel about hiring him, and I haven't seen anything. It seemed like it would have happened real quick if they were interested. So I guess McNair's a possibility.
Jim, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
He's a good coach. I think he's an excellent coach. The fact that he won at Alcorn, and they've got some disadvantages over there, which finally I think drove him away. All the stuff that happened in the COVID year, I think he was pretty disgusted and probably wanted to leave right then. Look, he came back and he had a couple of good seasons. They really should have won the West. I thought they were the best team. I don't know, if they don't lose that, I don't know how they go to Texas Southern and lose there like they did, just with everything on the line, just to lose that game. But anyway, I don't know. We'll see. I like Coach McNair, and I'd be happy to have him here.
I would be too. I like that idea, especially a guy that you've seen being able to have quarterbacks, running backs, receivers in this conference. Offensively, what we've seen Southern struggle at, one of the issues we've had with Alcorn is simply having struggles dealing with their offense, right? He's had quarterback after quarterback. He's had a depth of running backs that have been developed to be great, as well as receivers that can catch. They're long, and what they do best, they can block really well. I like that idea. I wonder how much would he be okay with coming. Hey, we right down the road from Alcorn, so that wouldn't be too bad to go out the way for him to have to go too far. Let me ask you this, Jim. On the other side for recruiting, I get asked this question a lot. What is it looking like in recruiting? First, have we lost anybody? And then let's talk about what have we gained and picked up.
Well, I don't know about who they've lost. The names I've seen, I've written about those. They lost a pretty good cornerback in Kristen Davis. They lost, they lost two quarterbacks. Harold Blood looks like he's in Missouri with his brother now, and then Dylan Marotro, who was a guy that Dooley brought in, and just it didn't ever look like he was going anywhere. They lost Josh Donald, who he spot played. I don't think he's a huge loss for them. He spot played. They're going to have Davin Cotton back next year, so they'll have at least one of their starting tackles back. Otherwise, they lose. They lost a couple of offensive linemen, as far as I know. And I say they lost them, but the truth is, until those guys find somewhere else, they can always come back. They can just get out of the portal. And I don't know what's going on with that. Trey Newsome and Eli Fields, and I kind of felt like that might hurt that offensive line, losing those two guys. But who knows, they may be back. I haven't seen any word of them signing anywhere. So, that might not be a big deal. They got some commitments. I couldn't get him to tell me that these guys were in class yet, but because the weather postponed the start of school, I don't think Southern started until Thursday. So I talked to Coach Graves Wednesday night, and he would not confirm. I had a list of 5 guys that were commitments that I didn't know if they were planning on having them at school or not, and he really couldn't say because they didn't start school. Another chance. He probably knows whether or not they're going to be there. But the guys I've got, they got a defensive lineman, Joseph Hall, a transfer from San Diego State, and then a defensive back, Jamarius Brown, transfer from Miles. Grayson LaFleur, he's a linebacker and the son of former athletic director Greg LaFleur. So that's an interesting deal there. I saw that, and I saw Greg in a picture on Facebook with his son Grayson. So they look like they're locked in. Xavier Spencer, UTSA transfer. He's a Louisiana kid from Leesville, defensive back, and then an offensive lineman, Carmelo Crump. He was at ULM last year. And that staff broke up, and some of them went to Grambling, but this player, he's a Warren Easton grad from New Orleans at ULM, a 6'2", 294 offensive lineman. So they've got some commitments, and they're going to be able to show a lot more in about 3 weeks. I guess it's less than 3 weeks when signing day hits on February the 7th.
All right, Jim, let's get ready to take a break. Hold on for me. When we come back, we're going to go through this schedule. They unveiled the 2024 football schedule. Let's go through it and talk about it. So we get ready to take a break. You guys go get your coffee, wake up, run to the bathroom. We're coming back, and we're going to talk about the Southern University football schedule for this year. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. More at the Jaguar Journal.
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney, installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable Roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At CareSouth, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in healing is just a phone call.
It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everyone out there. It is Saturday morning, bright and early. Got my man Jim Kleinpeter rocking and rolling with me. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Barry.
Let's talk about this Southern University 2024 football schedule. We get a chance to go through it. And the Jags are going to start the season on the road here in the state of Louisiana in Lake Charles against McNeese State, Jim.
Yeah, that's one that they like. You know, they like. He likes to play regional games. He wants to, and I think Roman's done a good job with getting the schedule to make some money and create fan interest. I think last year it was good to, you're going to play Jackson State when when they're not on a conference schedule. You got to play them as a non-conference team. And then he also played Alabama State, and so that was good. But I mean, playing McNeese this is a return game from when they played in 2021, and it's a quick trip, 2-hour trip down I-10. And I tell you this, the people in Lake Charles will come out to see the Southern Band, if nothing else. So and I'm sure they got some alumni in Lake Charles that want to see the football, but then the band will bring people out that that's how they know what Southern is. So that's a good trip. I think McNeese likes to play Southern, so it's a good deal. And then, down the road, you'll see Nicholls State, too. So.
October 31st, Southern versus McNeese over in Lake Charles. Should be a big one. Everybody's going to be out going over there for that one. Southern has been close in its past 2 games, have not been able to get over the hump. Alcorn State, though, has beaten McNeese the past 2 times they've met up. Okay, then we move on to the next week. September the 7th, the Pete Richardson Classic. Of course, the first home game against Division II Savannah State.
Yeah, and I didn't know that this was a game that used to be popular for Southern fans. They played them before, and it's an HBCU that which is good for the schedule. You want to bring somebody in, you want to start the season off good, and this will be it's a different team. You don't want to play the same teams every year. So this is good. There'll be some interest in this one, in the Southern HBCU team. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, and we'll see what happens.
Now I'm gonna kind of fly through the rest of these, Jim. September the 14th, Jackson State. Southern will go on the road to Jackson State. Of course, for you guys that do not know, this is a non-conference game. Jackson State has rotated off of Southern's schedule. Southern's permanent East rival game is against Florida A&M. So Southern and Jackson State, this game is going to be a non-conference game, but nonetheless, it is still a rivalry game. And Southern on September the 14th will head up to Jackson, Mississippi to take on Jackson State. September the 21st, Southern University will go on the road in its first trip to Houston on the season to take on Prairie View. That should be a big game. Prairie View came on the road last year, beat Southern here at home 27-21. Ultimately know what happened and ensued after that. Eric Dooley was let go. Prairie View goes on to win the SWAC West and represents the SWAC West in the SWAC championship against FAMU. All right, Jim, this is the matchup I like in our circle. A lot of people don't like it, but I like in-state matchups the same as McNeese. October 15th, Southern University will host Nicholls State here in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, this is good. Southern needs to play Nicholls maybe at least every other year, and I think they got a return game to Nicholls in 2026. So this will bring out a lot of people too. It's good, and you play well against a fellow FCS school, and Nicholls is good. Nicholls has been winning the Southland in the last 10 years. They've won quite a few. Tim Rebo, I go way back with him when he was baseball coach at Destrehan High School. So it's a good matchup. They've even traded off players every now and then.
And he knows how to recruit that River Parish and New Orleans area, Jim.
Yeah, and I have to say, going back to Prairie View, the Southern, the toughest part of the schedule is having 4 of their first 5 conference games on the road. That's going to be tough, but it may pay off in November when they're playing for something. Maybe playing for the conference, the division title.
The week after playing Nicholls, Southern goes back on the road like you're talking about. Another trip to Houston. 2 trips to Houston this year. This time it's going to be Texas Southern. October the 12th, Southern goes on the road against Texas Southern. Of course, they named a new head coach. Andrew Body, their star quarterback, won't be there, but they have a guy in Jace Wilson who will be returning, it seems so far for them, who can throw the deep ball. He seems to be a quarterback. He won SWAC Newcomer of the Year. He's a guy that they can build around if they can get the right pieces with their new head coach. Now, here's the game that I circled that a lot of people was like, Jim, what the hell's going on? October the 19th, homecoming, Southern University and Alcorn State. I like homecomings against formidable opponents. I don't like the Rudy Poos. Don't give me a Florida Memorial or Edward Waters. I like a homecoming like this, Jim. This make you get up.
Well, I'm telling you, you may see 30,000 at Mumford that night, because this is a game that draws a lot of people anyway. And it's so it's gonna. They might have the highest attendance they've had in several years. Homecoming always brings people out, but boy, Alcorn State, and the Braves fans are going to be coming down Highway 61 for that one too.
Next week, you move on, and then you go back on the road, this time to Tallahassee, Florida. Southern University takes on one of its hated longtime rivals. Before these two teams were in conference together, they held the longest non-conference rivalry in black college football. They played from the 50s all the way into the early 2000s. That's Florida A&M. A lot has changed with them. They've lost their defensive coordinator. They lost their recruiting coordinator. They have lost some position coaches. And, of course, their head coach, Willie Simmons, is now the running back coach at Duke, Jim.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting because, Florida A&M coming into the SWAC, look what they did. I mean, they've only lost 2 games in 3 years in the SWAC. Both Jackson State when it was coached by Deion Sanders. How is this going to change the dynamic in the East? Because Jackson State and Florida A&M have pretty much ruled the East, and the other 4 teams haven't even come close to unseating them. And I think Alabama State may be on the rise a little bit too. So it's going to be interesting to see how if Florida A&M can hold them off with a whole new, practically a whole new program, because they're losing some players too.
You talking about teams in the East, Southern University, after they take on Florida A&M, will go on the road to Huntsville, Alabama, to take on Cornell Manor and the Bulldogs of Alabama A&M. This is a team on November the 2nd, Jim, that you're talking about with Jackson State seems to be kind of idle, Florida A&M kind of out the way. You would think this has to be the time for Cornell Manor, since he won that spring championship during COVID, right after COVID. But his Alabama A&M teams have not even been in competition. They've been in the talk of winning the SWAC East. And you would think with T.C. Taylor at Jackson, now that Deion is gone, and then Florida A&M kind of in the win right now, that you have to be able to have Cornell Manor step his team up to be in a position. And Southern takes on Alabama A&M November the 2nd.
Well, if he's going to move, if he's going to make a move, this is the year to do it. And if he can beat Alabama and Alabama State, then maybe he can get back to the top. But you're like you said, Florida A&M's in the win right now, and this is his chance if he can put something together. You got the transfer portal. If you get the right people, you can turn it around really fast. You don't have to build for 2 years. So he's going to have to make a move, or he may not be the coach there at the end of the year.
Southern then comes home for 2 straight weeks. Bethune-Cookman, November the 9th, gave Southern a scare early on in that game last year in Jacksonville, and then they closed it out November the 16th against my neck of the woods, Pine Bluff. The Golden Lions of UAPB will close out the home schedule. What you think about that Bethune-Cookman UAPB on the back end of the schedule at home?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. I'm just don't have a good grasp of Bethune. I didn't think they were particularly well coached last year. But they seem to get better. That's one thing. You got to watch. Good coaching. If your team's getting better, that's good coaching. Okay, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to be at your best on weeks 1 through 4. So that may be now and then Pine Bluff. I'm telling you, I like that coach over there. I like Alonzo. And I have a feeling, and he came back. They won. They won their last game. Nobody thought they were going to win that game. So they looked like they were toast from the middle of the season on. And then they come back. They win that game. And he's got some enthusiasm going over there. I think I could play for that guy. I could sit on the bench for sure.
Hey, Alonzo Hampton definitely has that motivation about him. Now, can he get the players in order to motivate to get a winning way at UAPB? They had some tough games down the stretch against teams. And like you said, they were down big to Texas Southern and found a way to win that game on the road at Texas Southern. So that was big for them. Now, can he get the recruits in? When he was hired, this would be his second year. He was already kind of behind the 8 ball. He was up against National Signing Day and then kind of had to build with whatever he had with Doc Gamble left over. So that'll be interesting with UAPB moving forward. Can Alonzo Hampton get them in contention to at least be a formidable opponent in the SWAC West? And then, of course, Jim, we know November 30th, all roads lead to New Orleans for the Bayou Classic. It'll be the 51st Bayou Classic. And Grambling has everything that is familiar to Southern, from their athletic director to their coaching staff. When you look at their offensive coordinator, Eric Dooley, defensive coordinator, Jason Rollins, and their head coach, Mickey Joseph, right here from out of Baton Rouge with ABC News, with LSU. Overall, you look at that game with Southern and with Grambling in the Bayou Classic, it's going to be a familiar event this year.
Yeah, it gets more and more familiar every year. I mean, I know the Southern and Grambling fans talk about what a family feud this thing is, but it's almost like who's going to trade places after this game? Next year who's going to be on the Grambling staff that's going to be on the Southern staff, and vice versa. Who's going to get transfer players? They both. They're both going to end up with transfer players from each other. So, heck, that's a family feud like no other I've ever seen.
Yeah, Southern with Terrence Graves, who has won the Bayou Classic both as the interim coach at Southern and at Grambling. You look at Noah Biden, who came in and played for Southern in the Bayou Classic. former starting quarterback at Grambling. A lot of familiarity of when you talk about both these programs. Jim, it's way too early, but I have to ask you, when you look at this 2024 schedule, just tallying it up, if you could just give me something, I know we still got to watch it unfold, but just right now, what do you see that record as?
Ooh, boy. Yeah, now I'm going to really have to go to the crystal ball on this one. I don't know. I don't know if it's so hard to tell because I mean, as far as it's like Terrence was named the head coach yesterday. That's how much I know. I hadn't seen him play. I hadn't seen him practice. But I don't know why Southern can't win 7 games at least with this schedule. And if they the thing is, they got so many question marks. Especially at quarterback. When you have a few question marks, you can kind of predict something. But I don't know. I believe they can win 7 games. I still think they're one of the top 4 programs in the SWAC easily. And if you just get good guidance, if you get solid coaching and nothing off the wall, you should be able to win 7 games.
Jim, I want to say thank you for coming on this morning, man. I appreciate you as always. I keep you on coming on. The more we get more information, I think Terrence Graves said everything should be together by February 1st. So as things continue to unfold, you and I continue to have conversations and letting the people know. That's my man, Jim Kleinpeter. If you have not seen his work, you have to go read his work in The Advocate. Hey, if I don't read nothing else in The Advocate, I read what Jim Kleinpeter writes, Jim. I want to say thank you, man, for coming on this morning.
My pleasure, Perry. Anytime.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to take a break. We come back, we'll talk some basketball. Southern on the road today against Grambling State. So let's get ready to take a break. We come back and we'll close this thing out, all right?
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable Roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At CareSouth, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in healing is just a phone call.
All right, we're back. It is the Jaguar Journal. I want to thank Jim Kleinpeter coming on, giving us some updates about Southern University football as we went through the football schedule as well as talk coaching staff and recruiting. Now let's move on and talk basketball, because if you're watching it on the YouTube and Facebook, if you see behind me, this was a tough loss for Southern this past weekend going on the road to the Florida schools, and particularly Florida A&M. Both men and women split. The women lost to Florida A&M. The men lost to Bethune-Cookman. Let's talk about the women with their loss to Florida A&M at Tallahassee on last Saturday, 59-53 in that ball game. Southern shot 21 of 47, shooting 44%, 2 of 9 from the three-point line, and 9 of 16 from the free throw line. Florida A&M on the other side shot 17 of 45 for 37% around the field, 4 of 18 from the three-point line, and 21 of 30 from the free throw line. Florida A&M gets that victory and upsets Southern University women 59-53. And then on Monday night, Southern women get back on track, getting a 71-66 victory against Bethune-Cookman. In that ball game, Southern University women shot 25 of 53 for 47%, 7 of 15 from the three-point line, as well as a great night. 14 of 15, Chris. 14 of 15 from the free throw line, shooting 93%. I know Chris liked to hear that anytime you have a great night standing at the line and getting those free buckets. Southern University women get the victory, 71-66. All right, let's go around the SWAC. On the women's side on last Saturday, besides the Florida A&M upset of Southern, Grambling got a victory 63-62 over Bethune-Cookman. Jackson State women continue to do what they do, and that is dominate, 70-41 over Alabama A&M. Alcorn State 49, Alabama State 42. Prairie View and Sandy Pugh get on the right track, an 83-69 victory over Mississippi Valley. And Texas Southern, how about that, getting a big victory over Pine Bluff, 85-80. They upset the Golden Lions women's basketball team on the road over there in Houston. Then on Monday night, Mississippi Valley does something you didn't expect. Let's get a victory over Texas Southern, 70-69. Alabama A&M and Alabama State on the women's side got together, 66-49 victory for Alabama A&M women's basketball team. And then Grambling and Florida A&M in 3 overtimes, ladies and gentlemen. What a hell of a game it was. Grambling gets the victory, 88-85. And then Prairie View and Pine Bluff, both teams were set to play in men and women. The game was postponed, so their game was going to be named at a later date. We know the winter weather came in, and I think both teams decided, hey, we'll figure this out at a later date. So Pine Bluff and Prairie View did not get to have their games, both on the men and women's side. Let's look around the SWAC in terms of the SWAC standings as of today. At the bottom of the SWAC standing, Alabama State 1-4. Overall in conference play, they're 1-15 on the season. Mississippi Valley 1-3 with their first victory on the season in conference play against Texas Southern last week. They're 2-15 overall. Florida A&M with their first conference victory on the season against Southern women's basketball. They're 1-2, 2-12. Alcorn State 1-2, 3-11. Prairie View 1-2, 6-8. 5-8 overall. Bethune-Cookman 1-2 in conference play, 10-6 overall. Texas Southern right there at 2-2, 3-12 overall. Alabama A&M at 3-2 in conference play, 8-9 overall. Pine Bluff 2-1 with their first conference loss against Texas Southern, 7-9 overall. The Southern University women's basketball 3-1, 5-10 overall. Grambling at 3-1, 9-6 overall. And then to round it out, Jackson State at the top 3-0, and they are 8-6 overall on the season. Let's look at some matchups around the SWAC today. Southern and Grambling. Southern women's basketball up at Grambling today. That tip-off at 12 o'clock noon. Game will be broadcast, men and women, on HBCU Go TV. So check your local listings. Go on Google or whatever. If you want to watch that game, Grambling and Southern today will be shown on HBCU Go TV. You'll be able to watch that game, men and women. So Google it. Do whatever you got to do in order to find out how to watch that game on the women's side. Florida A&M and Pine Bluff tip off at 1 o'clock. Texas Southern and Alcorn State will tip off at 1 o'clock. That game is going to be up at Lorman. Prairie View and Jackson State should be a good one. Sandy Pugh versus Tamika Reed up there at Jackson, Mississippi. That's going to tip off at 3 o'clock. And then Bethune-Cookman on the road at Mississippi Valley State today, tip off at 4 o'clock. And then the Monday matchup is going to be Prairie View and Alcorn State. Prairie View has to travel over to Lorman. That tip-off is going to be at 5 o'clock on the women's side. And then Florida A&M and Mississippi Valley. Tip-off is going to be 5:30 on Monday. Texas Southern, Jackson State, tip-off at 5:30 Monday. And then Bethune-Cookman rounds out its trip in the Delta against the Golden Lions up there in Pine Bluff on Monday at 5:30. Should be some interesting matchups. I'll be looking at that Southern and Grambling game today. That's going to be a big one in the conference. I'll circle that one. And then I'll also pay attention to maybe Sandy Pugh's Prairie View team going up there to take on Tamika Reed and Jackson State, even though I think that's going to probably not be there. Can Pine Bluff hold on and continue to be the women's basketball team that we can see competing for championships? They played for the championship last year against Southern University. Can they continue that? Can they shake back from that loss against Texas Southern on the road, that 85-80 loss against Texas Southern? Coach Don Thornton has done a tremendous job in terms of having his team compete and play. Told you she did enough for me already when she took that team up to Fayetteville, Arkansas, and upset the University of Arkansas Razorbacks. Yeah, you know who they are of the SEC, right? She was able to do that at Pine Bluff. That was a hell of a game. And once again, I said, I never thought in my lifetime I would see UAPB beat the Razorbacks in anything. Guess what? She did it in my lifetime. And for that, I give her a check off on the box. Hey, Dunn, you all right by me. Can they continue that with Florida A&M at house today? Florida A&M has shown they can play. It may not be in an elite status, but if you come sleepwalking, they will upset you the way that they did Southern last Saturday. And I'm going to tell you, one, for myself, I did not see Florida A&M in a position to upset Southern on the women's side last week. So can Pine Bluff get it done this weekend with a pretty good Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M team coming into town? That's going to be key. I think Jackson State pretty much has that wrapped up with Prairie View and Texas Southern. Have you seen the scores? They're beating teams by 30 points, and they are dominating in the paint. Now, the thing, can they shoot around the field? That's the thing about them. Not a really great shooting team, but you don't want to have to get down and bang with them in the paint. That has been Tamika Reed and Jackson State's MO so far, and they've been able to get those points last week, putting up 40 points in the paint. All right, let's get ready to take a break. We come back, I'll talk about the men's side. We'll go through the games, look at last week, this week, and get ready to close this thing out. So y'all stay tuned more to Jaguar Journal.
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney, installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable Roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At Care South, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in healing is just a phone call.
All right, we are rocking and rolling this morning. I am Perry White. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody that's listening. Thank you to all our people in the Alexandria area of the state, Baton Rouge area of the state, New Orleans, and everybody listening all around the world because of YouTube and Facebook. Give us that ability. Make sure you go hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Costs you nothing. We like your support. And for people who typically get in here late and I see the comments, hey, did they talk about it? That's why the show is up. When we're done, you can go back and watch as much as the show previously and catch up and get the information that you need in order to catch up to where we are at now. All right, let's continue the conversation. We just got done with SWAC women's basketball. Let's talk some SWAC men's basketball, and particularly Southern University, right? Southern go on the road the same as the women to the Florida schools. Southern gets the victory 74-65 over Florida A&M this weekend, shooting 27 of 59 for 45% around the field, 12 of 30 from the three-point line, and 8 of 16 from the free throw line for Southern as they get the victory over Florida A&M, 74-65. Then on Monday, and a tough one. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you see the game behind me, and as we was in commercial, I was like, how the hell did we do this? Like, what happened? Reggie Theus, the head coach at Bethune-Cookman, did a great job of keeping his team in position to win that game and come back and battle back. Southern had a lead late in that as you went on through the second half, but got outscored by Bethune-Cookman 35-30 in that second half. This game went into overtime. Bethune-Cookman squeaked it out 83-81. And if you can watch this game, it's on YouTube. If you want to go back and watch it, that gym at Bethune-Cookman is small, it's compact, and they are on you. It is a tough place when you have trash talking and people on the opposing side making sure they can get you out their game. And that's what they did in this one. And it was very personal, as you can tell, for Bethune-Cookman as they got the victory 83-81 in overtime. Southern in this ball game shooting 26 of 62, shooting 41% around the field, 10 of 28 from the three-point line and 19 of 28 from the free throw line. For Bethune-Cookman in the victory, 25 of 53, shooting 47% around the field. They were 5 of 16 from the three-point line and 28 of 36 from the free throw line. 28 of 36, shooting 77%. I just thought Southern in this game jacked up too many threes. 10 of 28 shooting 35%, especially late in the game with them having a lead. They gave it away, and Bethune-Cookman got the victory over Southern University. A tough one. Bethune lost his first home game on the season just prior to Southern coming to town against Grambling, and then they were able to shake back and get it done. Congratulations to Reggie Theus and that team, man. They can play some basketball. I like Bethune-Cookman. I think they are a team to watch out for as well in this conference. Don't take them lightly. Let's go over the SWAC standings. Let's start at the bottom. Mississippi Valley still winless on the season, 0-4 in conference play, 0-17 overall. Florida A&M 0-3 in conference play, 2-12 overall. Alcorn State 1-2 in conference play, 2-14 overall, 1-2 for Prairie View. They are 6-10 overall. For the Golden Lions in Pine Bluff, 1-2 in conference play, 6-10 overall. Alabama A&M 2-3 in conference play, 3-15 overall. For Texas Southern, 2-2 in conference play, 4-11 overall on the season. Bethune-Cookman 2-1 in conference play. They are 7-9 overall on the season, 3-1 for Grambling State on the season in conference play, 6-11 overall. Southern University 3-1 in conference play, 9-8. They are above 500, but barely. Overall on the season, Alabama State 4-1 in conference play. They are 9-9 on the season. And then Jackson State on both men and women are the only two undefeated teams in the men and women's SWAC basketball standing. Jackson State 3-0, 7-9 overall in the SWAC. Let's look at some games and give you some updates of last week. On Saturday, Prairie View getting a 71-60 victory over Mississippi Valley State. Grambling 79-69 over Bethune-Cookman. And the Bethune-Cookman, their one and only loss at home on the season. Alabama State get a close victory against Alcorn State, 55-53. The Golden Lions of Pine Bluff go on the road and get a shot and get a big victory over Texas Southern, 70-67. And then Jackson State beats Alabama A&M, 75-67. Monday night, you come around, Texas Southern beats Mississippi Valley, 93-61. Alabama A&M and Alabama State. The Hornets get the victory over the Bulldogs, 72-55. Grambling gets a victory, 65-52 over Florida A&M. And like I said before, the Pine Bluff and Prairie View game was postponed. You look around the SWAC today, Prairie View will be taking on Jackson State on the men's side. Southern and Grambling up at Grambling State today. Tip-off at 2:30. Game will be broadcast on HBCU Go today, HBCU Go TV, so be sure to check your local listings. Go on Google, wherever it is. Look, in this age of information, You should not have to ask Facebook how to do something. Just find it and Google it, all right? Texas Southern versus Alcorn at 3 o'clock up in Lorman, Florida A&M in Pine Bluff. In Pine Bluff, Arkansas, tip-off at 3 o'clock. Bethune-Cookman in Mississippi Valley. Tip-off at Itta Bena at 6 p.m. And then on Monday, you're going to have Prairie View versus Alcorn, Florida A&M versus Mississippi Valley, Bethune-Cookman versus Pine Bluff, and Texas Southern versus Jackson. Southern will be off Monday, so you'll have an opportunity to watch and see what's going on with the rest of the conference as we get ready to get really rolling into SWAC conference play. This will basically be week 3 into SWAC conference play. Southern on the men and women, splitting on the road. Southern women losing to Florida A&M, Southern men losing to Bethune-Cookman. Can both teams keep it going up at Grambling, and a formidable opponent and rival? And it is tough for Southern, especially on both sides of the ball lately, having to go up there and deal with Grambling. So it's going to be a great game to watch today. HBCU Go TV. The game is going to be televised there. If you want to go back and listen to the rest of the show, I want to thank my man Carlton Jones coming on this morning, talking to us about the Southern University Alumni Federation National Conference. It'll be held this year, so make sure you find out and get your information in terms of what's going on, as well as thank my man Jim Kleinpeter comes on and talk to us about Southern University. He threw it out there, and I liked the idea that if I was Southern, I would call Fred McNair. Hey, everybody that messed you over, Fred, I'm right down the road from where you at, baby. Come on down here to Baton Rouge and chill out a little while. Plenty of Alcorn folks around here. My boy G was swacking the food. Hey, I don't know how he'll feel. Matter of fact, he probably will feel okay with it. He's okay with the fact that Fred McNair out the door anyway, and his boy Cedric Thomas is now the head coach. I'm putting it out there, G. You put it out there. So you was ready for a change anyway. We'll see how that worked for you, especially with Alcorn at homecoming. I would take Fred. See, all right. I would take Fred McNair. Come on, Fred. You can deal with my offense this year. And then when homecoming come, we whoop Alcorn's ass. How about that? How about that? Y'all with that? I'm with that. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Want to thank everybody that's paying attention. Listen, how long we have, Mike? What we got? What, about 1 minute? All right, thank everybody listening. I always give out our affiliates up there in Alexandria, New Orleans, right here on 107.3 in Baton Rouge. Of course, we do the radio, but then everybody that's listening via YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on the radio or watching on Facebook, head over, type in the Jaguar Journal on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. We just want your help to help us get to 1,000. We're almost at 1,000. Slowly but surely, right? And we can do it with your help. It's free. I don't need any information from you. And then go over to our Facebook page, the Jaguar Journal, hit that follow button and like button. Be able to subscribe and get some information from there. You'll see a lot of Jim Kleinpeter's work over on our Facebook page. And that's why I like to have Jim on as much as I do, because he does. We support his work heavily and what he gives us in terms of Southern University. So let's follow and like our Facebook page. Let's subscribe to our YouTube page and continue to wake up each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on 107.3 locally in Baton Rouge, and no matter wherever you're listening to. As always, he's Mike. I'm Perry. Man, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. HBCU Go TV today, Southern versus Grambling. Check your local listings and Google it. And as always, as the man stays upstairs, I'll be here at the same time, same place next week, because it's the Jaguar Journal. Have a good weekend.
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney, installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable Roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At Care South, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in healing is just a phone call.